Good morning. Welcome to day 2 of the Social Innovation Summit. My name is Sid Espinosa, Director of Philanthropy and Civic Engagement at Microsoft. Let's start off, if we can, by everybody standing up. Put down that coffee, stand up. I want us to do a big clap in unison. 1, 2, 3. You know, we're going to try that again. You can clap because yesterday was amazing. You can clap because for all the people here who are putting this event on and how much work they've done. You can clap because you woke up and got here in time. Whatever the reason, follow me and we'll do a few. Here we go. All right. Thank you for the applause and the warm welcome. That's how I like to be greeted, so thank you for indulging me. I'm honored to kick off day 2. A few years ago, I kicked off day 1 when we were in Silicon Valley, and at the time I was the mayor of Palo Alto. I was thinking about how much things have changed since then, how much we have evolved as a community, how much the issues change year over year. So many of us come to this event to be inspired, to be energized. Hopefully, we're here to learn a few new things. And I think a bunch of us also try to look ahead. What's on the horizon? What's the broader context that we should all be thinking about? What should we be looking at in the future as a community? Well, this morning, we ask you to think about the monumental changes that are rapidly happening to our workforce. Every industry, every sector is facing revolutionary changes. Healthcare, manufacturing, retail, banking. Our society, though, is not really ready for this change. At Microsoft, we've been thinking a lot about this. Let's see if I get this. We have a mission to empower, I'm going back one, maybe. It doesn't matter. We have a mission to empower every person and organization on the planet to achieve more. But to do this, we must ensure that everyone has the skills, the knowledge, the opportunity to succeed. We're putting our money where our mouth is. Last year, Microsoft's philanthropy totaled about $1.66 billion around the world. A few years ago, a majority of those investments were in science education, STEM. We were thinking about CS and computer science. We were thinking about teacher training programs, curriculum development. To be clear, that is still a top priority for us. But what we've seen in recent years for us is really a ramp up in an entirely new focus around career pathways, workforce, skills, the future of work. And of all the issues in the world, why does this come to the top of our list? Let me tell you 2 quick stories. I was recently at a conference in Silicon Valley about autonomous vehicles. The technology is here. People are excited. I'm going to grab some water. Too late last night, let me tell you. Although I'm going to put in a plug, one of the people on my team, an incredible young Latina leader, Lena Gonzalez, was elected last night to the state Senate representing Long Beach and part of LA. So we were at her election night party, clearly too exciting. So I was at this conference on autonomous vehicles, and the excitement was palpable in the room. One guy there got up and said, "I'm in this industry, I share your excitement, but I have to tell you where I live in the middle of the country, people don't talk about it the way you do. Where I live, people know that 3 million people in this country are employed in trucking or driving, taxis, some other role connected to vehicles, and that millions of people are about to be put out of work. And no one here at this conference, not this one, but that one, seems to care about those folks, seems to have a plan for reskilling them, seems to be focused on finding them a new job. And frankly," he pointed out, that was part of the frustration that was reflected in the last election. A second story. Last summer, I was up in Petersburg, Alaska. It's a beautiful spot on the water, halfway between Juneau and Ketchikan. My uncle owns a hardware store there. And he was talking to me about the workforce there. Lumber industry has been decimated. Fishing is going the same way. And he was wondering if, because I'm in tech, if we're at a point where we're going to start seeing remote workers able to come back and fill some of this exodus of workers out of Petersburg. He also pointed out that this was the last year at his hardware store that he would be able to employ all of the tellers. Because retail is changing so quickly, healthcare costs so much, the cost of that technology to just get automatic scanners means that it doesn't cost out for him anymore. And if you think about the millions and millions of low and middle wage jobs in this country that are in retail, they're also about to be unemployed. The examples go on and on. We are at a point now where whole technologies are leaving our workforce behind, and there's not a plan. To help put this fourth industrial revolution in context, Microsoft funded this video.
Artificial intelligence is not just a new technology, it's a revolution.
One of the challenges of explaining the impact of AI is that it will change every single major industry.
So you have a whole progression of one occupation being decimated, but other occupations taking their place.
New technology has always done this.
There are so many more things that we can do much better than machines can. And these things primarily involve creative reasoning, abstraction, strategic thinking.
We built the world's wealthiest nation when our citizens were the best educated and the best prepared for new technology. Harmony Public Schools show what's happening in some Texas schools. Harmony sets high standards for both students and teachers. Specialized instruction in science and math begins in 3rd grade. Robotics are emphasized in all grades.
Employers realize that they need to start investing in their workforce so that they don't have to look at dislocation because of a technology shift. If you're a job seeker, you should have access to a well-trained professional that knows the economy.
The state of Colorado has partnered with Markle Foundation and private companies like LinkedIn to take a new approach with displaced workers. Career counselors and the Skillful State Network help people see the connection between their current abilities and emerging industries. They help workers identify new skills they need. Technology itself is not a threat to prosperity. The threat is in neglecting to learn. Robots and artificial intelligence are our next set of tools, but they'll never replace us. Robots only have answers. We have the questions.
The most important skill in the future will be ability to keep on learning.
I don't know if you should be excited, worried, terrified. We think a little bit of all of them, but frankly, this is a PBS documentary that it's airing right now nationwide. We funded it in partnership with the Hewlett Foundation and Stanford and others to really raise a national conversation about the concerns that we should have about these changes that are happening at such a rapid pace, but also the excitement, the potential. It's called Cyber Work and the American Dream. We encourage you, you can find it now online, encourage you to take a look at that. And in case you're still wondering if this is a critical issue, if it applies to you, please check out the stats behind me. I won't go through all of them, but I'll tell you that our world is changing for workers, for companies, for students, for social enterprises, all of the organizations that we work with. And if we in this room, the change makers, the social innovators, don't focus on it, and we don't help the millions of people who are about to be out of work who may fall through the cracks, then shame on us. It is not doom and gloom. I want to be clear about that. There is so much potential here. And this is an issue that we can get in front of. If I had more time, I'd talk about Microsoft's national partnerships that are thinking about reskilling and retraining the workforce, nonprofits that are leading the way, community colleges that are changing the way that students think about education and lifelong learning, governments that are addressing the policy needs, startups that are innovating in this space, and so forth. It's exciting. And if you really want to be forward and future thinking about the fights that you're here to fight, inequality, injustice, thinking about true systemic change, then it's time to start focusing on the massive workforce transformation that is on the brink for our society. And it will change within our lifetimes. So now, enough from me. We have an amazing panel coming up. It's called The Future of Work is Here. Are we ready? Spoiler alert, no. And I'm going to let Josh introduce his panelists. My colleague, Josh Winter, has an incredible career before coming to Microsoft, pursuing equity in education, the workforce, the workplace, including his most recent work with the New York City Department of Education, where he led strategy to ensure that all of the district's 1,600 schools provide equitable and excellent education to its 1.1 million students. And perhaps not surprising, Josh started his career as a middle school math teacher in the Bronx with Teach for America. So I'll let Josh take it from here. Josh?